Hi, welcome back to Neural Splendor. This is part 2 of the 3-part series on why do we have excessive crankcase pressure after our overhaul. Tonight I'm going to show you the data that we gleaned from our tests. So the test that we did is we did a stationary regen. We used Cummins Insight. We logged all parameters. We cleared the faults before we started. And at the end of the test, we had the crankcase faults 555, 556 come back, which we expected. And then after that, we took the unit down the road. There's a long, steep hill not far from us, and we took it up that hill and just worked its butt off to see what was going to happen with that. So you'll see some screenshots of 2 different data logs, just the important parts. One is going to be the regen, and the other is going to be the actual road test we took it on. And then once you have all that data, you'll have to decide what happened and let me know. And then in part 3, I'll let you know what we did to fix it, and I'll show you how I figured out where to look, where to pinpoint what it was. This is the first log. I've sorted this for us a little bit here. Over on the left, I want you to look at engine speed, and then 4 columns over, we've got crankcase pressure, exhaust gas pressure, and then engine operating state. So right now we're at low speed governor. And now we're going to start scrolling. So now we're in a regen. You can see our operating state changed, but our crankcase pressure is still only 1.1, 1.2, dropping and raising just a little bit, not much. Notice exhaust gas pressure is 150. This is the pressure in the exhaust manifold. So we've got a lot of cylinder pressure going on, even though the timing's retarded. We've got a lot of back pressure. So I would think if we had a problem with rings, we'd see it now. Now, watch the operating state. As you can see, the exhaust gas pressure drops, and watch crankcase pressure. Remember, this is an engine we just overhauled. Probably got an hour of running on it. 5.6, 6.7, 7, 8. When we get up to about 9, we start logging, 9 to 10, we start logging 555. Depends on operating conditions. And 13.6, there's our 555 that we logged for excessive crankcase pressure. And you can see we're hovering between 10 and 11. The engine's idling now, low speed governor, 600 RPM. So this is our first clue of where we want to look. Okay, let's take a look at our road test now. Okay, this is a data log from the Insight software program. Well, this is the result of the data log. We open it up in an Excel spreadsheet, and I moved the columns around to put together what I wanted to see so that I can see the correlation between things. Crankcase pressure is on the far left. Then we move over to engine RPM. Percent of load is next. Percent of load is basically how much horsepower the engine's making. So if you see 100 in there, this is a 600 horsepower engine. So when you see 100% load for a few lines, we've got 600 horse at the flywheel, and that's maximum cylinder pressure. Exhaust gas pressure is the pressure in the exhaust manifold between the cylinder head and the turbocharger inlet. And next is the turbocharger actuator position, and that pretty much controls exhaust gas pressure and greatly affects turbo RPM. I had engine oil temperature in there just to see if that was spiking or anything. If you have a cylinder go out, sometimes your oil temperature will go up pretty quick. This oil temperature was just fine. Turbocharger speed, I put that in there so I could see if the turbo was spooling up to where it should be, and it was. And this turbo will get up. You'll see peaked out, not in this log, but if you had a loaded trailer or something and you were pulling down at peak torque, you might see 103,000, and that's you get up to 106, you'll start D rates. Then I've got vehicle speed, so you knew how fast we were driving. The load's not going to go up to the higher side until you see road speed, because we did this on a very long, fairly steep hill to get enough load on the engine to build that cylinder pressure up. So what were the possible places we could be losing our seal? So you've got piston rings. Did a piston crack? Do we have a problem with the valve guides? Remember, the valve guides were bored oversized, bronze inserts were put in, they were bored to size. We did put new valve seals on, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And we put a Cummins Recon turbocharger on there. So that should be doing a good job of taking care of controlling where any pressures go. And do note that there's a lot of pressure in that turbo. Exhaust gas pressure is measured in inches of mercury. If you want to convert that to PSI, basically it's really close. Just divide that number by 2. So if you see 105 in the exhaust gas pressure column, that means there's about 52.5 PSI in the exhaust manifold. That's more than in a car tire. And it can get up. I've seen it as high as 180. That's as high as the sensor reads, not in this log, but that's 90 PSI. That's what they used to put in the truck tires, 90 PSI. That's in that exhaust manifold. That's why those manifolds have exhaust seals on them. So it makes it a little harder to figure out where this crankcase pressure is coming from, because you've got higher pressures in places you never used to have them. So now you've got the data. See what kind of conclusion you come to, and in the next video, we're going to talk about what the problem was.